So now we have a hard task of kind of summarizing our thoughts. So I'd like to ask from you that what would be approximately 2 focus areas for Finland-India collaboration in innovation? So it could be industrial sector or a theme or some operational area or any type of segmentation. So 2 areas, 1 to 3 areas. So let's start from this side. So Kari.
Well, hopefully I'm answering to your question correctly, because one of the things when I think about innovations, I think about speed. And speed is very, very essential. And I believe that we have very good ideas, but then for them to become innovations, it needs implementation and speed. And I do have an example. I visited once some time ago the Aalto University, and they were doing cooperation with a very renowned North American university. And I asked the professor there, who had also been working as a professor in that particular university, that because they were doing cooperation with Aalto, and I was asking, so how come a big renowned university in USA would do cooperation with the Aalto University, which of course is a growing and a good story out there? And he said, well, you know, there is lots of good ideas coming from US, but there is something in Finland we're very much renowned for and appreciated, and that's called deadline. So I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So next, Anand, your thoughts.
Well,
summary, please.
Very quickly, the 2 areas that I would absolutely choose beyond any others, and I think they're self-evident. Not only for the Indian market, but I think the global market at large, which are the developing countries, would have to be healthcare and would have to be education and training, and both of these enabled by ICT technology. I think these are self-evident, and these are the areas that India can bring into play along with Finland.
Great, thank you. Self-evident is not always the one that you want to focus on first of all. So thanks. Great. Santtu.
Okay. Surprise, surprise. I will choose Cleantech. And then maybe connect that with the IT and maybe kind of social networks. So bringing these things together, what we are actually doing already with this, our new solved service, that we integrate all the social medias, that we can really communicate with the different communities and get the ideas from there for the Cleantech innovation. And also maybe then communicating and marketing in a very innovative way and finding new ways of branding.
Thank you, Santtu. Bhaskar, what do you have in mind?
Yeah, thank you. What I think is that let's be innovative. That even Honorable Minister also said that let's be innovative in terms of thinking. Let's think of the starting point as building the delivery model. That's important because we have got the technology, we have got the expertise of technology. Both the countries have their own areas. We have got market that is there, but how to reach that market? Where is the problem lies? What exactly the product we require? To start thinking in terms of building the delivery model. That's my number 1. Number 2 is that we have been talking into this, that we try to build a cooperative innovation. That is, I see a lot of synergy here coming over here. Cooperative innovation and building the ecosystem, that would be the second thing I would be appreciating.
Thank you. So, Riikka.
Well, I would suggest that we would focus on small and medium-sized companies, not necessarily having any link to any specific theme, just to be there and help these customers to change the way they think, but change how they are integrated to the global market. So I would put that as in a focus. And then about speed, one way of speeding up things, although we do have deadlines, is to start from the need point of view. So define the need, define where the need is the biggest, and then start to look from that point of view. So this is the need, what kind of solutions maybe they already exist, you don't have to develop them. You maybe need to recombine existing systems in order to meet that need. So that's the other thing I would put very high on the list.
Thank you, Riikka. So then Harkesh.
Well, two thoughts. One, I completely endorse the view that it has to be SME focused. I keep saying this, Tatas don't need us, Nokias don't need us. It is the SMEs who need this kind of a support. The second focus could be useful information exchange. See, the information, there's plenty of information which is being thrown at people, but the useful information in the way the SMEs can use is required. And if I may use the third opportunity, is pick up some of the low-hanging fruits where there are already possibilities of collaboration, facilitate that so that we can immediately have some mutual confidence established, early successes build the confidence. So that's my take on this.
Okay, thank you. Wonderful proposals for focus areas. So just to be sure that it doesn't happen that we don't have time for audience questions, so we jump to those for a while. And if we have time, I'll come back to my question I told you beforehand. So let's get some microphones there. I have to come down, I don't see you otherwise. So let's see. Let's start from there first. The mic is there, and then we come here.
Congratulations to all the speakers. The constructive formulations have came. My logical question to the Professor Bhowmick, when you are seeing about health orientation, could you see like Nokia phone helped a rural folk and rural masses of India? Like that your health orientation based on the rural people to develop the infrastructure or not?
Yeah, thank you for the question itself. We will giving the examples of Nokia, or here Mr. Kari also told us the story of steel. What I think that it is not the product itself important. It is the importance is the way you have innovated, the service you have delivered. That knowledge you have to bring that knowledge into the mainstream. The way we are trying to innovate. That's what I am trying to bring. It is not really what Nokia has done. The innovating part of Nokia we can take forward and implement in our model. That's the way we can do it. We can take the examples from the steel sector also. We're not using the steel for poverty alleviation program, but we can take that how they have really scaled up. Can we really put that thing into our model? That's the important.
Okay, thank you. Next question here, phone time. Please introduce yourself and your organization.
My name is Deepak Bhatnagar. I am from a business school, Indian Institute of Foreign Trade. So coming from a business school, we would like to know from the eminent panelists, especially from Finland, innovation in doing business. Like India ranks 135th in ease of doing business, and Finland ranks among the top 10. Why are we so bad? Tell us something.
Let's take on that couple of answers. So, who wants to shoot that? So, Rick.
Maybe I cannot comment why you are bad. It's not what I would say. But, you are correct in a sense that perhaps we should more broadly realize that you can do innovations also in the business models. And during our visit to India, we've heard many times words accessible, affordable, and inclusive. And that's something that when you have a traditional business model, you really need to rethink your business model in order to meet these three words. Well, it's crucial. If you look at the global growth companies and you pick up 10 of them, the majority of these companies, they have become success stories because of their business model, which has been innovative. So maybe that's something for you to think, whether you are teaching this kind of flexibility to your students and also other partners.
Thank you. So then, does somebody have a mic already? If not, then it goes to this gentleman here with the bullshit. Just come on.
Thank you. I am Dr. Agrawal from MIT University, Noida. I fully agree with the panelists with some of the points which more or less converge to the need for speedy propagation of innovation, useful exchange of information, and support to SMEs. I think these three issues are very important. If we look into the experience and environment in India, I think there is an immediate need to have a skill upgradation and knowledge upgradation as well as training or education in innovation management in educational institutions. To really train the skills in industry and elsewhere for the innovation management which are occurring at many places all over the country. Because innovations don't reach and don't materialize to the commonplace, one of the reasons is that there is not adequate skills and training available for management of innovation. Second is, in this context, there should be, I should say, technology transfer offices, as it is in Western countries, including Finland, in the university systems, especially in the private universities, which do not have any government funding. Because public funding institutions have the government funding, they can somehow manage to have their technology transfer systems. But now the new education policy of the government encourages private investments in education, and there are private universities who have excellent research and development facilities and experience in technologies. And there is a need to develop.
Yeah, sorry. Do you have a question for the panel at this point?
Well, only my suggestion is that how do we go? Because Finland has a very good experience in all these, including the support to SMEs.
Yep.
And we don't have those models for supporting SMEs in India.
Yep.
So how do we go about it?
Yep.
And we would like to have the collaborative network with Finland in all these areas. Thank you.
All right, let's ask if, do you have any comment on that, Harkesh? Could you comment on that a little?
Well, I am not completely familiar with the Finnish model of support to the SMEs, but my only take is that one is that I believe there is a greater speed. There is a greater trust between the supporting institution and the SMEs, which can in turn maybe add speed. So that's what somebody from my Finnish.
Yeah, I can take that question in a different mode. I can tell you that one thing we could. I'm not mirroring anything from Finland. My own experience tells me that we have to really create an innovation ecosystem. Within that ecosystem, the different stakeholders in my presentations also there are different stakeholders. Now I saw there is the support not only comes from the government level, not only comes from the other technology transfer level. Support also comes from the one innovator to the another innovator. Because the unique school we are into IIT Kharagpur, we have got Science and Technology Entrepreneurship Park, where 40 innovators, entrepreneurs are situated. They have their own offices there. We have seen, lot of their own support to the system has already, giving some results. Of course, there is something also to think of. Yes.
So then, Riikka, could you tell a little bit about this subject area, support for SMEs, just a short thing?
Well, our funding to SMEs, if we ask our customers which are the things that they value in our services, they of course value the funding, the money that they can get from us. We co-fund projects, so we sort of help them to be more risk-taking in their actions. So we are kind of guaranteed to the system and to their change process. But there are other things that they value in our services, and one is the strategic view to their area. So many SMEs, they don't necessarily have the capacity to do and to run a very heavy strategy process themselves. But by joining programs, for example, they know that we've done the strategy behind, so we know that there's area where there's a potential. So this kind of support, which is, it's not really tangible, but it's a kind of support for them to know that this area has space. So it's something that Mr. Mittal mentioned, so it's trust in the system.
Okay, thank you, Riikka. And Santtu has one point to make.
One point. So when talking about the innovation and scaling up together, so SME focus and micro and company focus is very, very good. But in order to really scale it up, so it's good that we also connect the bigger corporation. So the bigger corporations, they need the SMEs and the micro companies and both ways. So you need the ideas like Outokumpu, and the smaller companies, they need the capacities and resources to scale it up.
Thank you. So now for a moment, questions a little bit later if we have time. So now I jump back to the question that I promised to make for you, because I'm always looking for concrete actions. So about the focus areas you mentioned, so please tell us a little bit more about those and what concrete actions should we make together to make something happen in that area. So let's start now from Mr. Mittal.
The first concrete action which I propose is that can we explore the possibility of twinning the incubators? Can we think of some ideas, some innovations which have common interests in both the countries? They could be, let's to begin with, 2 incubators in Finland with 2 incubators in India, where they could start working on these ideas. This is my first thought. I'll come back maybe.
Okay, so then Riikka.
Well, actually, what was mentioned by Mr. Mittal can be included in the action that I propose. So we've already today spoken about Indo-Finnish SME initiative, which could contain actions like Mr. Mittal mentioned here. It should also contain joint funding for SMEs, funding from the Indian side, funding from Finnish side, perhaps funding also for research which is linked to the themes that will be under that area. But then we also.
Okay, thank you. So, Bhaskar.
Yeah, I have shared my views. Still, I want to say that whenever you take up innovation, from this platform itself, I think we have to be innovative. Whenever you think of India, India is a large country, some billions, some market, and that's what it comes to our mind. So we can produce one product with lots of economy of scale, which will be very low cost, and that will be sold. I think that model has to be changed. You have to be innovative. I prefer to change from economy of scale to the scaling the economy. This scaling means measurement. We have to find out new measures for the economy. I'm not talking about that 8% growth economy. I'm talking about that below where actual your scale is like. So you have to have a different scale. That's what my thought.
Thank you. Santtu.
Okay.
Cleantech, I guess.
Yes, my idea is that Cleantech and connecting with the social networks is that so we are now launching this new service called Solved within the Cleantech Finland. So where we connected the best Finnish Cleantech experts, and then we offer this for actually starting to solve the problems here in India, together with the Indians. And then I would propose that they could, even among this group of people or even greater group of people, identify some concrete problems where we need innovative solutions, where we combine the Finnish experts, researchers, and then the local community. and we can utilize our platform for that.
Okay, that's really a concrete thing, and it's already going on. Great, thank you. Anand?
Yeah, well, essentially I go back to the two areas that I identified. Number one was healthcare. Now, Finland is extremely good in diagnostics. Little diagnostic kits, meters, blah, 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 as well as healthcare beyond the initial diagnostics. Now, I think the one example I gave of GE producing an ECG machine at a very low cost stands out. I think you need Finnish entities starting to work in developing some of these low-cost solutions, giving the same diagnostics. And this is one, very clearly, and this need not necessarily be only in government laboratories or Department of Science and Technology. There are many very good small to medium-sized entities, Bangalore, Chennai, etc., who are already thinking in those terms, and I think it's wise to put those entities together. Number two, I go back to the education side, and I think that this is a basic issue. People talk of our business model, people talk of whatever. Innovation is something that cannot be forced. It has to do with thinking outside of the box. Unfortunately, we have an education system which has been completely hidebound for so many years. This has to be broken. We have good examples, and I'm sorry people said that Nokia and Tata may not necessarily be the right people to work with. We have an excellent example in South India, a small company called eVidya which works with Nokia, using a Nokia backbone to deliver education over mobile phones in a way that children do not hate maths, they don't hate physics, they like to learn it. So these are, we have to break the mold of the educational system, let people think outside the box, the children must learn rather than just squatting up on books and delivering something in an exam, which is where Finland is very good in delivering these educational attributes. Number two is, we have a business system which goes back to the East India Company, and which is why we are not that good in business. I mean, Finland was not ruled by East India Company. Now we have to get rid of that system from the beginning, and it will come only from education and use of modern technology in delivering that education.
Thank you. So, Kari, your thoughts?
Yes, I would promote to select within the FinNode certain focus areas which can be developed as success at a reasonably fast pace. Because then succeeding together within India with FinNode in India and Finland, so then we can build up from that one, and then that creates trust between the parties, and that takes us further as well. So I would definitely go from there, because I have a strong belief that success creates success.
Yeah. So Harkesh. One last suggestion from my side is that I talked about information exchange earlier. We need to build a platform for both the Indian as well as the Finnish SMEs, where they could actually make an inquiry, post their offer, and do a kind of a matchmaking, which is kind of a live program. We have some experience in doing this. We created one site, online network of entrepreneurs, one, that we titled it as. We would be willing to collaborate with FinNode in India to develop this mechanism where this could be jointly developed. Thank you.
Let's do that. Thank you. So just to check out the schedule. So is Dr. Ramasamy here? No? Okay, so then I can continue with the panel for a moment more. There have been many questions in the audience, so there in the middle, hand raising there. Well, let's take first here and then the man with the white shirt.
My name is Himadri Das. I'm with the International Management Institute. We've been hearing quite a lot about technology-based innovations, whether it's been products or services, healthcare, education. My question is very specific to Tekes, FinFund, as well as FinNode. in terms of Tekes and FinFund, in terms of funding and taking, I guess, equity positions, and FinNode in terms of projects you want to do. I believe in India, a big challenge is, some of you referred to business model innovation. Now I'm a little bit more specific in innovations in service delivery, to reach the base of the pyramid. My question is there interest or funding available to explore innovations in service delivery models which can take the existing technology innovations and make them accessible at an affordable price to the base of the pyramid? Because that, I think, is where the breakthrough is going to happen in this country.
Great question. Who wants to start? So Riikka was the fastest.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the question. In Finland, we indeed think about innovation in very broad sense. So it's not at all only technological innovations. It's much more than that. And we know that services, for example, are really important components when you innovate. And the base of the pyramid thinking, or bottom of the pyramid thinking, is very much in line with the possibility of rethinking in this kind of joint action. And at least from our side to the Finnish partners, there will be funding available for that purpose.
Okay, so thank you. And then I promised to give one more question for the gentleman there with the white shirt. So please hand him a microphone there.
Hi, I'm Sunandan Roy-Chaudhary. I run a small publishing house. I also teach in a management course in Finland. I have two questions. I think they're kind of connected. One is our colleague from IIFT has raised, I think, a very important question, that why is it so difficult to do business in India? And when Mr. Mittal was saying that funding of small and medium enterprises and their innovation there is a priority, I feel that to connect whether FinNode and Mr. Mittal's department and anyone can look into this possibility, that how can social political innovations be thought about in linkages to scientific and technological innovations. And the East India Company question has come up, and I'll link it to my second question, which is that, you see, we are talking now in English, for instance. In Finland, a scholar or a researcher might do PhD in Finnish. In India, very few cutting-edge research will happen in Hindi or Bengali or Malayalam. I feel that this is a very serious handicap for this society. And Mr. Sethi is absolutely right that this East India thing is not only about laws, but also the very domination of English. So I think that if Mr. Mittal's department can look into this possibility of actually spurring innovation through languages, and for that, which would mean is creating a huge body, or at least a substantial body of scientific knowledge, which is again related to service delivery issues, in these languages. And unless we do that, I don't think India can become a scientific or technological superpower.
Thank you. Yes, you said you have two questions.
Yeah. Yeah, the second is related, that social and political innovations linked to the scientific, and whether we can use or think about very seriously of the Indian languages, innovation in Indian languages, and whether the government, both on this side and the other side, will think of funding this kind of efforts.
Okay. So let's first Anand and then Harkesh, because it was directed to Harkesh. So two quick questions, two quick answers.
To answer your specific point, of course this can be addressed, and if I'm not horribly wrong, and I think that's what young Ambika is with her digital society, that's exactly what FinNode and the digital society are planning to address. We don't have that ecosystem yet in India, but I think it is in the process and it will be handled.
Okay, Harkesh.
As far as the first part is concerned, I quite agree that the socio-political innovations linked with the technological innovations, that part, yes, because innovation is not a standalone thing. It has to be embedded in the social systems. It has to get connected to the society. So that part, I do agree. Well, opinions can differ on as far as the promotion of research in the regional language is concerned. In fact, it is one of the strengths of India is that we get connected because of this to the world. But I do see your point that as far as promotion of Indian languages, particularly for research and development, yes, there's a possibility which exists, and let's see how we can address that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And all the good panels come to an end before all the good questions are presented. So sorry, rest of the questions please during the networking cocktails a little bit later, because we have now time for thanking our great panelists here. So let's give a big applause for them. And then please take your seats back and somebody will collect the mics from you. And then just as a short summary, I would say that we had really great points made, several concrete actions that we will follow up with. And I believe that we talked about sustainability, scalability, affordability, inclusiveness, and many other aspects of innovation that are all needed when we think about what to do between Finland and India. So we cannot look only from one angle.